Want to talk about leadership friction. You know, friction, like when we rub our hands together on a cold day, gives us warmth. But when you rub those same hands against sandpaper, it goes beyond warmth to something destructive. So too much friction, too much banging up against each other as leaders trying to get something done causes some problems wherever we work. I see three areas in which leadership friction develops, and I'd like to address those. The first is conflicting personalities. Now, we all know we have different personalities, and those tend to bump up against one another. The proverbial abrasive personality, the person that just seems to, quote, rub us the wrong way, kind of interesting expression. They kind of get too much into our space, or they just seem to push too hard, or their words are more toxic than supportive, and instead of just challenging us, they kind of get abusive with language or demeaning with language. These can be abrasive personalities, and that certainly can rub up against other leaders saying, whoa, you know, where are you coming off here? Sometimes it's the direct person, the person who's eager to simply communicate facts and data, or to tell you what to do if they're a supervisor. Bob, make 3 sales calls by 3 o'clock and report back to me. Susan, can you put that over there? Steve, I need you to set up 2 meetings. They never smile. They never crack a joke. They're just always direct. And they don't see this as abrasive, but constant, just pure direct can feel like a little bit of a poke over and over and over, and begin to clash with other, maybe warmer personalities in the leadership circle. Then there's a condescending or elitist type person. Again, they may not recognize it fully. They tend to look down on us. They tend to feel superior because of their performance, their socioeconomic background. Maybe there's racial stuff going on. The point is they kind of look down their nose a little bit, and that kind of personality rubs up against those of us who don't like that, and we may perceive that that's some sort of one-upsmanship going on. I also see some things that cause friction around contrasting styles of leadership. Bill Hybels did some good work in Courageous Leadership, a book he wrote about a decade ago, to focus on 10 kinds of leadership styles that he observes. And it's important to look at those. As a matter of fact, we've posted those so you can see them on the site. You have people, for example, with visionary styles or entrepreneurial or re-engineering styles. Go-getter, startup, take the hill. Those kinds of styles. Bumping up against people that are bridge building, team building, collaborative, encouraging motivational styles. So different styles of leaders can bump up against one another by virtue of we just lead differently now. We might get the same result done, but we go about it different ways. But our styles can cause a little friction. A third area is just competing visions. In other words, we see things differently. You get a group of leaders together in a circle, and some may report to others or whatever, but when you get those leaders in a circle, they all have a sense of vision. They're all leaders, and they see a future that could happen, and it may not be the same. One way to help with that a little bit, I say, is being together is seeing together. There's something about working on vision collaboratively that really helps that process and create more unity around the vision versus we each individually come with our own separate view of reality and then compete with one another to see whose vision wins. So these are areas I see a friction or tension developing. How do you address it? It's pretty simple, but it takes work. And it's simply saying, let's look at the strengths of each of these. What are the strengths that my vision brings? What are the strengths I bring in my style of leadership? What are the strengths I bring in my personality? And what do each of you bring? Focus on strengths, not the differences that kind of rub us a bit. But let's say, okay, the driver, what's good about that personality? The leadership style that's team building, what's a strength we can leverage to get the job done from your leadership because you're that kind of leader. So work on your strengths, leverage those together. Name the realities of the tension that you see and the friction that may be there, and then get on the strength side and see if that helps you lead better as a group of leaders.